BoLS fans, AdamHarry back again with another BoLS Retro Corner review, and today we are taking a look at Codex Imperial Guard for Warhammer 40k 2nd edition. Oh man, this is a blast from the past. Here we have all of our awesome 80s action heroes, the Catechins, on the front cover. As you see here, pretty awesome stuff. Yeah, awesome in that awesome 80s kind of way. Here we have the back cover, just the IG, the Imperial Guard, the largest, most powerful force in the galaxy. These were the grunts. These are the guys on the ground fighting for the Emperor, keeping it real. No super armor here, folks. T-shirts. That's right. Saving the galaxy with T-shirts and 34-inch biceps. Let's dive on in. Alright, so here we have the book. Couple of quick tech facts. This book is 112 pages long. It's partial cover, mostly black and white. We have the heavy metal painting section, obviously, which is always a fun time to go through, but mostly black and white. It does have the classic catalog style stuff in the back, which is always, again, fun to flip through and see those old metal models, and a little bit of advertising in the book. And yeah, we'll run through it real quick. It's pretty good shape. This is, of course, Larry's personal copy, as you see here. It was written originally by Rick, the man himself, Priestley, so with Annie Chambers input, Jervis Johnson, Ian Pickstock, a bunch of other people. Awesome stuff. Dave Gallagher, thanks again for the awesome cover. And then more artwork by John Blanche, Wayne England, Mark Gibbons, and Des Hanley. So these guys basically shaped my childhood, sort of, and my teenage years and beyond. So anyway, moving on. Awesome cover, inside cover, photo work. We have the Tolerant Deserators over here fighting some Nids. Old school 2nd ed Nids, one of my favorite models there, the old school Screamer Killer Carnifex. And then down low we have some Mordian Iron Guard fighting against Khornate Invasion. Table of contents real quick, we'll blow through all of this real fast. Imperial Guard, obviously we have the structure, the recruitment, equipment, how all that stuff works. Regiments, the, 6 different types of regiments that the Imperial Guard made up. Again, there's obviously more, but at the time these are the 6 main factions that each actually had models, which is pretty crazy to think about. Yeah, where did all those guys go? Forces of the Imperial Guard, how again all those guys worked here. Weapons of the Imperial Guard, vehicles, we'll get into all this fun stuff. The full color section, right there, the heavy metal pages. Imperial Guard special teams, we get into all of that army list fun stuff on this side. Special teams, command, battle line, vehicle support. We'll get into that as an interesting section right there. And then special characters. Of course we gotta look at the special characters. So we'll flip through this real quick. Again, the first, I don't know, quarter or so of the book is mainly talking about what it means to be an Imperial Guard grunt, a member of the Imperial Guard. You are just a human. You have no super awesome genetic modifications, no 2 hearts, no super awesome rib cage, it's solid bone piece, nothing fancy like that, no gene seed. You are a dude, and you are in the Grimdark. And your life expectancy is not that long, but you know what? You're there to make a difference because the Emperor protects. So it goes over each of the key recruitment planets. We've got some Cadians there, but mostly touches on Catechins, which are the jungle fighters who live on a death world, so already they're awesome. And what it means to come from there. We have Cadians over here, which Cadia, again, guarding the Eye of Terror, and their background, they're Cadia shock troops, some of the best trained, best equipped Imperial Guard regiments. The regiments of Valhalla, which are those crazy guys in those long coats, pretty awesome. They fight on an ice world. There's a giant epic battle with the orcs, which is actually a really fun read. We have the Mordian, the Iron Guard, which are probably some of the sharpest dressed, I think, of the Imperial Guard regiments. They definitely had the tassels to rock, and very disciplined, I should say. They have a big fight with chaos and all that fun stuff. The Tolerant, the desert guys, they come from a desert planet, a dry planet, not Arrakis, but Tolerant actually. And their fighting strategy, who they fight, their kind of background with different stuff, Dark Library, Eldar, battle stuff like that. It was pretty good stuff. And then Attila, this is where we get the Rough Rider regiments of renown, as it were, some of the best Rough Riders in the Guard. So moving on from there, again, the real quick summary. Guardsmen really haven't changed in like 30 years. So we've got their basic movement stat, which is most infantry moved 4 inches, so that hasn't changed. Weapon skills, ballistic skill, strength, toughness, 3s across the board. 1 wound, 3 initiative, 1 attack, leadership 7. Honestly, hasn't changed a whole much because that is the baseline stat for a basic human. Rough Riders, a little bit faster because they're on horses, but other than that, pretty much the exact same. Rattling Snipers, these are still some of the best snipers in the game, but they're BS4, but they're weaker across the board. But they have a really high initiative, actually, initiative 5. So they also have sniper rifles, which helps. We have the Ogrins, or Ogrins, as Big Red likes to say. They are still tough and rumbly with 3 wounds, tough 5, strength 5, a weapon skill 4, BS 3, and they had a movement of 6 because they were longer legged. I don't know. Commissars used to be even more tough than they are now with their weapon skill and ballistic skill 5s, strength and toughness of 4. These guys would put a Marine on their butt, so with 2 wounds. So take that. Pretty awesome. Battle Psyker squads, not a new thing. These are back in 2nd edition. They were still around, so you can see all the different Psyker options there. We have the Imperial Guard Stormtroopers. Again, better trained, better equipped. Sometimes in some editions they have ballistic skill 4 versus 3, but in this edition, the only benefit they really had was their hotshot las packs and a slightly better initiative. They were also veterans. Then we get into the mortar teams, frag, defenders, demolisher cannons. So I do remember seeing a lot of mortar teams on the field back in the day. They were a pretty popular unit. They were also a guess weapon, which we don't see at all anymore. But you had to guess between 12 and 60 inches, so they did have a minimum range. It was a pretty unique unit. Demolisher cannon, all that fun stuff. Heavy mortar, how that works, just firing mortars, indirect fire, direct fire, pretty crazy stuff. The different shells you could pick. The Inferno shell was a pretty dirty thing. You could set stuff on fire, and that was cause a bunch of extra nastiness. Inferno cannon. Earthshaker artillery, pretty mean stuff. Again, had a minimum range. Oh, sorry, no. The short range was 0 to 20. The long range was 20 inches to 150 inches. So if you were playing on like 10 tables, then you can maybe hit them. So needle sniper rifle. This was one of the dirtiest weapons in the game, just because of how it wounded with the special rules there. Ogre and Ripper guns, the auto shotgun, which is basically what they were. Pretty good stuff. I do love the old artwork of these guns, by the way. This is a kind of a weird belt fed, but then it also has a drum because, more bullets. And then the needle sniper rifle. There's no stock to that gun. It's just the handle stock. So pretty crazy looking. Anyway, this is the classic vehicles. You have the Layman Rush battle tank, obviously Layman Rush Demolisher battle tank. Chimera, that's the troop transport, which you still need today. The Griffin, which recently made a comeback, I think, and it's pretty mean. The Basilisk, the Hellhound, which Hellhound's been around for a long time. Sentinel, and then we have some new stuff, but obviously this is old, so we don't have those options. Talks about Macarius, one of the great war leaders of the Imperium. Military genius, all that fun stuff. The Macarian Crusades, maybe you might remember that. We actually did a mini dex on that stuff. But Macarius, Lord Solar Macarius, reunited with the Imperium after the heresy, like 1,000 years later, something like that. So anyway, long story short, he's cool stuff. Read that if you get a chance. Commissar Yarrick, the old school model with the power claw. It was a crab claw. He killed a lobster. That's how he got that arm. And then they saw the lobster and they added some servos to it, power armored it up. Boom. Commissar Yarrick, the lobster slayer. I'm kidding. He got it from an orc who got it from a lobster. Then you have Catachan Jungle Fighters. These are the old school metal models. These also doubled occasionally as Necromunda fighters. So some of you might recognize some of these models as Orlok Gangers. But there you have them. They wore T-shirts to battle. They had giant biceps, and they put Marines to shame with their antics and wacky hijinks. Then we have the Ice Warriors of Valhalla. Again, these are kind of reminiscent of Russian troopers, I guess, from World War II, with the long trench coats, the sleeping bags kind of strapped to them and keeping them warm. But they're a pretty noble fighting force, fighting the orcs in the ice tunnels and stuff like that. It's a pretty cool story. You should go check it out. Lexicanium probably has a nice article about that. Morty and Iron Guard, these guys are awesome. I have a buddy who long time poster back in the day. He would actually rock these guys. He had an immaculately painted Morty and Iron Guard army, and he was pretty vicious with them. Tolerant Desert Raiders, these guys are pretty cool. I don't know if you guys remember old J-Wolf back in the day actually had an entire Tolerant Desert Raider army. So I've fought both of these, and they've kicked my butt. So a lot of respect for these guys. Canadian Shock Troops, the ones that are still around. So I got to give them props for hanging in there. One of the things I want to call out too, I love the old style heavy weapon teams where they had like wheels basically, and the guy basically sat down on it and had the gunner assistant would drop ammo in. I just like the old school teams. I think they look really cool. Rattling snipers, those old goobers. Here are the Rough Riders of Attila, which they have since dropped the Attila of Attila, and they're just now Rough Riders. I guess the Horse Lords, it made sense for them to be everywhere in the galaxy or something. I don't know. Anyway, they have a certain theme. I just can't place my finger on it where they came from. If you could help me out, I'm just so confused by their theme. Not really. Here's a nice big shot. Pretty cool stuff of showing all of the different IG regiments working together, hanging out. So we've got actually there's no Valhalla Ice Warriors, but other than and no Desert Raiders. But we've got Cadians, we've got Catachans, and Iron Guard. They're the Horse Lords back there of Attila. I don't see them if there are no Valhalla Ice Warriors. Anyway, here's the main battle tank of the Imperial, the Lehman Russ. There's the Lehman Russ Demolisher with the upgraded, or I guess side-graded battle cannon. This is the battle cannon. That's the Demolisher cannon. Old school Chimera. These used to be metal and stuff, and we were pretty terrible. Imperial Griffin. And old school camo patterns. Man, I remember looking at this page thinking one day, I was like, I want to paint that camo pattern, and now I'm glad I never did, because some of these camo patterns just don't make sense. But there you have them. So, that's old school camo patterns. I didn't like that they gave you the option, though. It's like, hey, check out these different patterns. The tanks looked silly, though, so I'll be honest. Here's how their regimental organization looked. So you can see the regiments, all the different companies, and then platoons would break out from there, and then kind of how to paint them, was kind of what these symbols are here. Over here, tank and artillery companies, how all those worked. We get into the vehicles, Imperial Guard Sentinels, Hellhound. You notice that there's no Sentinel model yet. It was being probably redesigned at the time. Battle tank. I want to point this out real quick. Let's look at the main battle tank. Stat-wise here, as you guys can see, where's that armor? Maybe it's on the other side. Oh, here it is. Front 16, side armor, rear armor 16. Hull is a 20, 18 on the rear and side, 17 heavy bolter, 25 on the turret, 22 on the side and rear. So your D6 location was pretty crucial there. So kind of crazy that it had the track armor was 16, the hull was 22. I think I said those backwards. Blame it on dyslexia. Anyway, I love these galactic maps. One of my favorite things. These awesome galactic maps. We have down here the Lord Commander Macarius, Solar Commander, moving in. This is his army task force that was reunifying the Empire after the Dark Times, the campaign of Macarius. So pretty cool stuff. There's Earth. There's the Eye of Terror, which those two things haven't really changed too much. There's the Maelstrom right in the middle. What are those? Squat homeworlds. Never heard of those before. Yes, I have. And then, yeah, cool stuff. I always like that. The Basilisk, the Griffin, Imperial Chimera. Fun stuff. Commissar Yark is unmistakable battlefield commander with his awesome crazy claw that he ripped from an orc and beat him in the face with it after he killed that lobster. Revenge for the lobster. Command squads, all that stuff. The special rules here. They did have command rules, which was interesting. Veteran abilities. I remember Deadshot. Yeah, here it is. Deadshot eyes are better than marksman. Basically, reroll to hit. So, cool stuff. Reserves and barrage, all that stuff work. Preliminary barrage. If you got barrage, you could get the special rule as an option. So, pretty cool stuff. We'll jump into the army list real quick here. There's a warrior list, pretty basic stuff. Typical Imperial weapons: chainsword, power sword, or axe, auto pistol, bolt pistol, hand flamer, las pistol, all that fun stuff. Special weapons were typical Imperial stuff: flamer, melta gun, plasma gun, that type of stuff. Grenade launcher, autocannon, heavy bolter, las cannon, missile launcher, mortar. Typical heavy weapons of the Imperium. Getting the tools to get the job done, as it were. Then command weapons. Again, bolt gun, frag grenades, all that fun stuff. Veteran abilities and their points cost too. Again, the second edition army selection rules. Up to 50% of your points can be spent on command. 25% plus or minimum had to be spent on battle line. So that's your basic grunt troops, and then some other stuff. And then support, up to 25% could be support. So support included allies, by the way, which we'll jump into. So going through the points cost of commands real quick. Colonel was 100 points, Captain was 75 points. That's before any upgrades or war gear. Command squads were 60 points, and that included like 1 lieutenant and 4 guardsmen. So 60 points for that many dudes. So not a lot, but they did have a little bit more war gear and stuff. Rough Rider command was 115. There's the Psyker points. Really weird points. I never understood why they did that exactly. Maybe they had an Excel spreadsheet where they worked out the points, but a Primera Psyker was 32 points. Champion was 69 points. A Master was 110. And a Lord Primera Psyker was 157. So Commissars were only 40 points. I say only 40 points, like that's not a lot, but I guess it was kind of was for a single dude. You could have 2 warrior cards, so and a lot of cool stuff. And he was a beat stick, so maybe 40 points was appropriate. Battle line, this is your standard troopers and stuff, your tanks, your guard squads, stuff like that. So getting all that stuff. Lame Russ. Support, this is what I want to get to real quick. Check this out, support. You could take 25% of your army. Allies were not a new thing. This is back in 2nd edition. You could have 25% could be Space Marines, Imperial agents, which included Assassins, Grey Knights, Adeptus Arbites, Adeptus Sororitas, that's right, Sisters of Battle, Adeptus Mechanicus, and yeah, I already mentioned Assassins. So allies were a thing. You could take Eldar allies. They're not very likely to help, but you could actually take them. So, but you did have to have Codex Eldar. You couldn't take the Avatar, but other than that, you can include a lot of other stuff. And then also squats. IG were buddies with squats before they got squatted. So there you have them. Special characters, Lord Commander Solar Macarius, 105 points. This is actually before war gear, so you had to buy the war gear. It was weird. Commissary Arc was 170 points. He already came with some war gear, so that's kind of why. Pretty cool stuff. He had the Battle Claw. Orc. And that's him actually riding a battle tank, which is kind of weird. He's immune to psychology. He was a beat stick. I remember seeing him on the battlefield a few times. He's pretty mean. Nord Dead Dog, Ogren Bodyguard, one of my favorite special characters just because he's very loyal. He sticks to his commander like glue. It's cool stuff. And then Captain Al-Rahim of Toleran. That's a pretty cool model back in the day. Captain Chekhov of Valhalla. We've seen some of these reborn. Colonel Schaefer's Last Chancers Penal Squad. Those guys have been around for a long time. Stumper Muckstart, Rattling Sniper Sharpshooter. Pretty good little sniper there. Captain Mogul Khmer. So that's from the Attila Rough Riders. And then we get into just some tactics real fast of how to play them. Kind of some different thoughts from the design team. So an example list, which is pretty nice, a 1,500 point sample list. We have a Cadian Command HQ, Cadian Guard, Imperial Guard Squad, Heavy Weapon Squad, Rattling Snipers, 1 Layman Russ, Catachin Command Squad, Imperial Guard Squad, Rough Rider Squad. Came out to 1,500 points. This is a pretty basic list, but it gave you some idea how to collect an IG army back in the day. Going through the catalog, I do like doing this because it's just the old school metal stuff. It's pretty neat. But check that out. Then there's the entire 2nd edition collection there. All these metal models just bring back lots of nostalgia memories. I mean, look at how dynamic and... Yeah, I'm joking when I say that. They were kind of static, and I'm glad we have plastics now. Because you can do your own thing. I do miss occasionally having the cool metal models. Some of these guys did look pretty cool, but I am glad we have plastics now. So I just want to go on the record and say that, because when these things were first coming out, man, whew, kind of a pain in the butt to assemble. Well, the ones that weren't single piece models, obviously, But man, if you ever built a las cannon like this and then dropped it, and you know the pain that I'm talking about. You know what's up. It was a pain in the butt, especially if you painted it. Oh, it's the worst. But yeah, that's all the catalog stuff. This is weird. They had the plastic horses and the metal riders. I remember that. And then the Ogren, Imperial Guard craziness. Only had like 3 different model types. So, but that's that. That's the entire Codex Imperial Guard for 2nd edition Warhammer 40K. Hope you enjoyed that little blast from the past. We'll have more of these coming out soon. This is AdamHarry from BoLS signing off. Have a good one.